Hey, Desiree here with Soulpath Astrology and this week's energy report and three-card tarot spread. If you're new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are a community of folks, just regular people doing our level best to make meaning in the world, to understand ourselves and our place, our gifts, and to build the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible. If that resonates, then you are absolutely in the right place. I use astrology, numerology, tarot, and often personal stories as springboards for this sort of work. So yeah, I do welcome you to the space. If you're returning, welcome back, my Soul Path fam. It's always a pleasure to have you here collaborating with me and pouring your energy into this co-creative space together. Let's jump into the astros, the energy, and what's been coming up for me this past week and what we can expect moving forward this week, astrologically speaking. There is movement into Aquarius, of course. This is absolutely happening. I believe it is the 20th when it moves in. Maybe it's the 21st. At any rate, the sun moves into Aquarius. And along with that, we have a stellium that by the 24th will have arrived there in that space. So we're going to have Mars, Mercury, the sun, obviously, Pluto, and Venus all packed into Aquarius. What does that mean for us this week? Midweek on the 24th. Aquarius is our future thinker. Aquarius is AI. Aquarius is space travel, flight, technology, outside the box thinking. It's very avant-garde. I'm going to expect that we're going to probably hear of maybe some major advancements with respect to flying cars or with space travel or maybe with spaceships coming into our awareness, perhaps something to that effect. That would be on the most mundane, but also kind of like crazy out there sort of thinking. On an inner landscape, though, what does this mean? This is our inner tech. This is where maybe way more of the clairs, your clairaudience, your clairvoyance, your, those things, right? Clairsentience, all of that. I really feel 2026 is going to be a year where those inner technologies come online. For all that we're going to have external stuff happening where there is massive advancements in technology externally, like in computing, quantum computing, and maybe even our understanding of consciousness and where it's sourced from. I think too, there's going to be this huge explosion of inner technologies. And one of the ways that I'm starting to sniff, I'm feeling this in an intuitive way. I have nothing for proof about any of what I'm about to say, except for some kind of gentle rumblings in my body. As we come in, as those of us that are making a practice of returning home, of instead of being out there and really space minded or externally worldly minded, where we're returning in and getting very deep, exploring inner space, going into the unexplored territories and boundaries of our inner experience and finding there our own sun, the center of our own inner universe, the center point of gravity, energetic gravity in a very somatic, very realized way. I'm not just talking about this in a conceptual idea or something that you've read in a book. I'm talking about bringing online this incredibly weighted, in a good way, depth of presence that is sourced from within. That while our world is crumbling and destroying and falling apart, and I mean, it's wild what's going on in the world globally. Let this be the call and the invitation to come into and to really acquaint yourself with your deepest center. To surround yourself with people that are either already masters of this or that are stepping into this way of being, because this is the security that we're looking for, that some part of your intuition has been grasping at with what we had externally for systems, whether that was our banking system or our governance system or our education system, or the model that we were all handed down, like you go to school and you get the degree, and then you find the spouse, and then you buy a house, and then you have the kids, and make sure you're putting money away for savings, and you work at this job, and then you retire, and then I guess you live your life at that point, for the last 10 years or 15 years before you keel over and die. That model was a source of security. It was a model. But that, for the last 20 years, has certainly been falling apart at the seams. And anything that was in place to support that structure is falling apart at the seams. And so we're left here in this liminal space, are we not, of what's next. And it's okay that we don't know. The invitation is to come home to this self. Oh, I love that the camera just zoomed in just now. Technology, the camera, supporting the inner wisdom. I could not have invented a better metaphor for what I'm speaking about and what all of this Aquarian energy is pointing towards. As within, so without. Coming home to the self. Allow the astrology of this week to really bring you home. Allow the astrology to bring gravitas to your energetic body. I want to invite you in these last few weeks of the snake, the year of the snake, these last few weeks before we enter the astrological new year. I want to invite you to really slow down and cultivate spaciousness. Never underestimate the incredible gravitational pull of the pause. And this is especially huge. If you've known me for any length of time, you know that I move quickly, I think quickly, I speak quickly. And this year, I'm so welcoming in pauses, peace, margins in my income, margins in my time, margins in my energy, buffer zones, still points, unscheduled blocks of time, money, and energy that you deliberately leave there as the space between action, the space between words, the space between manifestation. Because it's in those gaps that we can attune to that gravitational sun that is the center of our internal universe. Internal and eternal universe. What a great place to springboard into the meditation for this week. So we're going to have a meditation, and then we'll do a card selection. There'll be an opportunity to see all three, at which point you can make whatever resonates, that mental selection, 1, 2, or 3, or both, or 2 or 3, or whatever order appeals to you. You can use the timestamps to fast forward to or listen to them all in order, whatever works, whatever your internal guidance system leads you to. And then I do always encourage you, right at the very end, there's always a nugget of love, a little downloaded tidbit of something that wraps this week's energy up into a little bow and is something you can take forward with you into the coming week as a jumping place, a starting block, a reorientation stone, if you will. Okay, so with that, let's jump into the meditation this week. I want to invite you, if you can, to close your eyes. Just really soften your breath. Drop your shoulders from your ears. Relax your brow. Notice your pelvis, the weight of gravity as it holds you in your chair. Perhaps you notice 2 or 3 sounds around you. Perhaps you notice a scent. You notice a sensation, a physical sensation. Just arrive here in this space, this time, inside your body. Deepening your breath. As you arrive here now In this moment, there is nowhere to go, nothing to be, and nothing to know. When you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes. Join me back here in the space and let us select from our cards this week. We have 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. Who stands out? Who calls your name? Okay. If this was your selection card 1, this is what you got. The World Cup. I love this card. It is a card of completions on an epic kind of level. This is a closing out of a chapter, and it seriously could not come at a more potent time as we're moving into the very, very tail end of 2026's energy in terms of this year of the snake, in terms of this liminal space between the ending of 2026 and the beginning really of 2027, of this next cyclical cycle in humans, our individual and collective evolutionary journey. The World card. What is finishing for you? What is a way of being, a way of sourcing your energy, a way of arriving into the world, a way of interfacing with yourself and others? What is coming to an end? And how might you celebrate that? The World is a celebratory card. It is the last card in the major arcana. Inherent in it is the beginning of the next chapter. The Fool card, the 0, is the next one. The World, though, in this moment is like, in this moment, in this container, can you turn back and really claim how far you have grown? How much you've shifted, not just this year, but over the last 10 years, over the last 18 years. What journey did you begin that is now completed? And what gifts do you get as a reward for that work? What is the nutrients that you can squeeze, or that permeate the cells of your being, that awaken and enliven your DNA as a result of this journey that you've been on, and the growth and challenges that you have met and received and blossomed into? So there's your World card. I hope that landed. Card number 2, if this was your selection, this is what you got. The Ace of Pentacles. What a perfect card. A new beginning card. This is very much about new prosperity, new job opportunities. Aces are always new beginnings. Pentacles, this is your body, this is your money, this is, maybe you have a new idea around money. Maybe you have a new business idea. Maybe you have, like me, you've launched a whole new chapter of your business that actually has become the foundation stone for it. My whole journey, my completion story, is recognizing that I started 18 years ago when I first moved away from home, which I guess was more than 18 years ago. But like, when I entered into what we'll call adulthood, right? I left home, stepping into my sovereign Desiree as self. I got married right away. I got a mortgage right away. I started having children right away. Instead of doing this like natural evolutionary growth like this, I tried to launch myself from the top down. And it's been this long, slow, often chaotic, often painful descension into the most basic, which I started in 2020 when I sold everything to get my van. And my eldest had already moved away from home. My youngest chose, prior to me making that choice, to move in with her dad to spend the last couple of years of her childhood in her father's home rather than mine. And that, well, it broke my heart at the time, also was the catalyst that had me, because COVID happened too. So here my daughter had moved out, COVID happened, so my income disappeared. And it was just like the universe was really pushing me towards this direction of, get this van and just live this life that is yours, that's truly yours. And that was the initiatory beginning of what does it mean to be just Desiree, not a wife, not a mother. And I mean, I got remarried in that time frame, but I found, and divorced, but I found my edge. I really allowed myself to begin to know who I am. And this card, the Ace of Pentacles, if this was your selection, where have you begun, or maybe you're coming to really see how these seeds that you began to plant a few years ago are coming to fruition around you. Who are you? What is this version of you that you want to take into this next epoch that we're entering into as a species? I've heard that we're evolving into a new species from Homo sapien into Homo illuminus, which is to say beings of light. And I love this. So what version, like what you is stepping into Homo illuminus as you begin your new self, your new approach to life, your new resonance? From where are you sourcing your sense of self and sovereignty and security, that your creative expressions can be true, not somehow mired and twisted and distorted and seeking validation externally or seeking shoring up from some sort of external God, but rather recognizing your own divinity and living from that? Ace, this is a just beginning, just starting, but there's still a quality of, there's gravitas, it's pentacles, it's an earth sign. This isn't a thought. This is a physically, somatically experienced beginning. This is the first deep recognition of solid beingness, of manifested, light manifested, love manifested as a physical being. How might that be landing for you? I know that's really deep, because it could just literally be a new job, okay? It could just be like a new home. But I love going deep. I love going in and spelunking down into what could potentially be, like, at its core, what's happening there, what's emerging from your deepest somatic, gravitational, heart-led force. There you go. There's your Ace of Pentacles. And last but not least, never least, card 3, we have the 9 of Pentacles. Interestingly, this card is kind of like the World card in that it's very much about wealth and security. It's sort of a completion. There's a quality of like luxuriating in the fruits of your labor. So the World card, right? I mean, this is the fruits of your labor. The 9 of Pentacles is also the fruits of your labor on a smaller, more mundane level, though. The World is like, wow, it's a whole paradigm shift. The 9 of Pentacles is your human completion. These are your 3D world fruits. And maybe you don't have a lot of fruits, but they're a solid fruit. It's not rotten. It's not an illusion. These are the fruits that were grown organically over time with like actual manure for fertilizer, not chemical nutrients. This is the fruits of your labor that has come from your devotion and your time and your patient weeding of your garden. And it is a celebration. It's pointing towards sovereignty, financial freedom. And maybe there's an invitation here if you've struggled with money, or if maybe you don't, maybe you have a lot of money, but you're not sure what to do with it. This card is like, become wise. Like, we live in a world where money is the tool we've collectively agreed upon to use as a value exchange vehicle. So what are you doing with yours? There's an invitation with this card to get really wise about where you spend your money and what are you supporting? What things do you want to celebrate? I mean, this isn't, in fact, the 9 of Pentacles isn't about simplicity. It's about really like, it'd be your fancy ass purse, but you really take good care of it, right? It might be that really beautiful, like, oh, that fur that you just like rub on your face and it feels so good, right? And appreciating it. There's luxury in the 9 of Pentacles, but embedded in it is gratitude. not devotion, though that could fall in there, but there's something about like that when you really find something to be sacred, when you care for it, and it can be luxurious. It's not just simplicity. It's not just basics. Like, it can be that too, but we don't need to limit ourselves to just the most basic. It's okay to build in margins. It's okay to have excess, and then be mindful about how you care for that excess. Do you see it as additional fuel for healthy growth and for giving and for generosity, or do you cling to it as a way of describing your personal worth, but in like not in a celebratory way, but in like almost a pathological way? So bringing your awareness to what is your relationship to your material goods, and celebrating yourself for how far you've come, and to be mindful about how you choose to invest the fruits of your labor. We'll leave it at that. I hope this landed. If you want to deep dive, get a reading of your own. If you want to create a container for some coaching where you can attune to your own inner gravitational force, I would love to do so. You can DM me, or the link to my calendar is in both the description of the video and as a pinned comment. And final nugget of love, my friends. Final nugget of love. Let's see. Cultivate those areas of stillness. It is in the stillness that the material becomes manifest and right direction reveals itself. Take these last few weeks of the energetic cycle that we are in with winter, and give yourself permission to really sink into it and to delight in how far you've come, to marvel at the learning and growth and the alignment that you have found over the last few years. In the scope of all of this world collapse and the dissolution, of everything that we've held as containment and what we've used as security, let it fall away, that you might find what is truly secure, what is truly real, what is truly deeply foundational for you in a very real, very somatic way. This is the year of dropping into our bodies, reattuning to our natural rhythms, dropping into the body of the earth, reattuning to her natural rhythms, and bringing online these deep inner technologies that we've forgotten and we get to remember. I hope that landed. I love you. Mwah. As always, my loves, enjoy your week. Please let me know how all this landed. I love your comments. And in the meantime, we'll see you next Tuesday.